If someone wiped my brain of all medical knowledge and I had to start over, this is probably the second thing that I want to learn as soon as I could in order to save people from chest wounds.
Hi there.
I'm an ex-military physician and known troublemaker who now spends most of my year bringing meds to Guarani people in South America, where I live like an RPG character, completing quests that have ranged from hiding an abused kid in my house from a machete-wielding maniac to quietly documenting jungle medicinal plants. I've swum with sharks, jumped into frigid mountain waterfalls, pissed off high-ranking officials, and trained parrots to save my life. I'm on my flawed journey to becoming, and this channel is for people who would actually like to become real-life superheroes. In the movies, when you get shot in the left side of the chest, you get stabbed in the left side of the chest, oh no, you're dead, right side, you're fine. In real life, you have lungs on both sides, and when you get a damage to the chest wall, there's a hole. If there's a hole, air can get in. If air can get in, your lung is this bag that's inside the chest wall. If air is collecting here, it can crush down on the lung, and the lung can no longer expand. And then you can't breathe, and then you will suffocate, and that sucks, and you will die. So, how do we save people's lives from this? Well, say this is my chest wall. My lung is getting crushed because air is coming in but not coming out. Well, I make a little vent, a little hole, so that air can vent back out again, and then this lung can expand and the person can breathe long enough for me to get them to the emergency room and get the surgery and other life-saving, things that they need in order to survive. So, how do you make a hole in someone's chest without killing them? First off, you shouldn't be putting holes in people's chests unless you are 100% sure they're gonna die if you don't, because we don't put holes in people's chests. That's not a good thing to do. How do we know that somebody's got a pneumothorax or that there's air getting in there and crushing that little lung? Well, you take both hands, you put them on the chest, under right here around this area. I know it looks very terrible and bad, but that's the reality. This is where you put it. You watch the rise and fall. When I breathe, my hands both move equally. Somebody who has tension or pneumothorax, one side isn't going to move easily. One side is going to stay up and the other side will move, but this side will not. That's the bad side. If you have a stethoscope and you're listening, the side that you can't hear breath sounds real good, that's the side that is the bad side. So we have ribs in our chest. We want to go into the second intercostal space. How do you find the second intercostal space? Your first rib is under your collarbone. Your second rib is gonna be right underneath that. And so then you go underneath your second rib. Right there, it needs to be midline, so the middle of your collarbone and down. So mine is here. This is where I'm gonna need to make another hole. I need to make a hole that's gonna stay open. So ARS and other companies like this, although I think this is the only one that I know of, I'm not sponsored by them, but this is the one that we use in the military. In here, there is a needle and there's a catheter. The catheter is like a little plastic tube, basically, that's gonna keep it open. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna open this, I'm gonna take the needle and the catheter, I'm gonna jam it into the chest wall. Ideally, I should have some microbial solution first so I can clean it off. If you are in a car accident and you happen to have something sharp and someone is dying next to you, and this is what you have to do, you should try to get training with the Wilderness Medicine Society, or you can get ATLS or other life support training. That is the best. But if you're in the middle of nowhere and your buddy is dying, maybe you're in the wilderness, right? I'm a wilderness medicine doctor, and you know for sure one side of the chest isn't rising and falling. One side of the chest doesn't have breath sounds. This person has a pneumothorax. We have an old saying in the military, nobody dies without 2 needles in their chest. We make sure that they have that before they die. So you're gonna have to make these calls if you're in a life-threatening situation. Ideally, you should always let an expert do things. You should never be the one to do it unless you are the expert. But if there are no experts, you're in the jungle, you're in the woods, you're gonna die, do this. Jam a hole. You want to be above the third rib. So I'm coming here, I don't want to go right under my second rib because there's nerves and blood vessels under there. I want to come above my third rib, and that's going to help me avoid those nerves and blood vessels. So I have my first rib under my collarbone, I feel my second rib right there, and my third rib. So this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to go midline I'm going to jam my hole in, and then I'm going to make sure to take the needle out and leave the tube in. If the needle is still in, it's going to be blocking. I heard about a soldier who saved a guy from a car accident. The guy was too fat, and so this didn't work. It started to close up. The fat was closing up the tube, so the guy used a pen. The soldier used a pen and used the pen to make the hole, and then took out the pen so that there was the pen tube acted like a catheter. So go that guy. So now that you know a little bit more about how to be like that guy, you can check out my little charity project at becomingheroed.byjenfinelli.com to start your origin story today as we turn your pain into the power that can change the world.